Hi, I'm Mary Caton. I'm a sports writer with the Windsor Star. We're here today with Kurt Downs, the head coach of the Border City Athletics Club, a new track and field club in the city that's specializing in speed and power events. Kurt, maybe you can tell us a little bit about that, why you decided to focus on those events, what they are, and what's behind it all.
I spent a year and a half at Western University doing my master's in coaching, and while I was away there, basically I got to travel a little bit. I spent some time at U.S. Olympic Training Center, spent a little bit of time with Lauren Seagrave and a few other people that work with the IMG Institute, and I thought, hey, why can't we bring this sort of idea back to Windsor and really focus on speed power types of events and use the avenue of a track and field club.
And so what events specifically are you guys targeting?
We're basically targeting anything from the 100 meters right up to the 8, and all of the long jump, triple jump, all the jumps high, and basically what we are attempting to do, including the hurdles there, and what we're attempting to do is basically use those events to sort of spearhead other athletes and other sports to come over and train with us as well.
And you're at the St. Denis Center. I understand you're working very closely with the University of Windsor Alumni Track Club. Can you talk about that association?
Yeah, actually, it's a pretty cool arrangement. We do all of the speed power events. They have some developmental events, but they also focus on the distance. They've been incredibly successful in the distance events for the last 30 years that Dennis has been involved with the university program. So myself, Jamie Ajete Nelson, who's obviously one of the most prominent speed power athletes in the history of the city.
Yep.
And we have a few other really cool coaches on our staff. Desmond Griffiths, who went to Pan Am Junior Games in the late 80s there. We also have Craig Pooley, who is at Holy Names and has had a phenomenal run with his track and football program, to name a few.
And you were mentioning the crossover training that you're doing. I understand you're working with Luke Wilson, Super Bowl champion for the Seattle Seahawks. What kind of things are you working on with him as a crew?
I myself don't have the pleasure of working with Luke, more so Jamie, and also Don Garrett, who's not affiliated with the club, but the two of them together have worked with Luke the past summer and this year, and they do an incredible job with him. I know he has a great time working with Jamie and with Don. On our end, we'd like to work a little bit more with the high school athletes. We have a few athletes that are phenomenal provincial and national level baseball players. Nicholas O'Neill, who's at Sandwich Secondary, to name one of them. In addition to that, we have another athlete, Jacob Robson, who's at Mississippi State, and he actually went to the College World Series last year, and starts an outfield for them, and we've worked extensively with him as well. So we're trying to do a little bit of crossover and get into the soccer programs and football, baseball programs, and really focus and zone in on their speed power training as well.
And I mean, in terms of track and field, I mean, this area has had great success across the board, developed Olympians in Melissa Bishop, O'Brien Gibbons, yeah. Scott Russell. Can you talk a little bit about what potential you see in terms of power and speed around here locally for the future?
Well, I think as a lot of people know across the province and even the country, Windsor is pretty much one of the most predominant places. We have great facilities at the University of Windsor, phenomenal coaches at the University of Windsor, and in the city. The high schools of Herman, Sandwich Secondary is phenomenal with Coach Rob Moore there, who's also a member of our staff. We've put so many different athletes on national teams in the past few years. Brandon McBride, Kelsey Bockwell from Essex High School. So as far as bringing athletes in and coaching them in those specific speed power events, I think we pretty much have the best athletes in southwestern Ontario, and I think that with that pool of athletes, there's a lot of amazing things that we can do here.
Yeah. Now, it's a brand new club. Do you have what are your long-range goals for the club?
Well, there's a group of pretty supportive people in the city, which is obviously amazing for us. Ideally, I would love for us to be able to move forward to a high-performance sort of institute where we can definitely align it with the university. They have a brand new high-performance center that just opened up, that has some really many amazing people that are involved with that. I'd love for us to tie in definitely a little bit more with that and access that. And then long range, hopefully be able to, maybe have a mini IMG sort of institute or a Spire type of institute like they have in Ohio here in Windsor, where we'd definitely be able to use the facilities and tie in that amazing talent that you mentioned and really make a go at making this a world-class area for it.
Well, thanks again for coming in and joining us today, Kurt, and best of luck with the club moving forward.
Thanks for having me.